Hello, welcome back to Open Table Adventures. As always, I am Dan the Baker, and we are back here today with another episode of Recipes for Adventures, our series where I make a little recipe based on some amazing actual play content from across the internet. For today's recipe, I'm going to be making a dozen donuts for the D&D Actual Play podcast, Cast Party. Cast Party is a charting D&D5e Actual Play podcast that isekai's a group of actors and crew members from a Hollywood set into the homebrew world of Fendraeya. The main cast consists of players Ryan, Anna, Nigel, and Vance under the watchful guidance of Dungeon Master Colin. Being the perfect balance between comedy and tragedy, Cast Party is a highly immersive and incredibly relatable adventure. With side series showcasing the immense talent within the TTRPG community, you'll never go a week without some amazing content exploring the world and wonder of Fendraeya. Dive into its rich, conflict-ridden history, all while falling in love with some very deep, intricate characters and their bond of found family.
I control the narrative. I plunged them into his chest. And they think it was you. You will regret this.
Now, for our donuts, let's start by activating the yeast.
Oh, hey, so this is where I was gonna explain why I was making donuts, but I just realized that I completely forgot to do that. So here I am from the future. Ooh, who's gonna tell you why? I knew I wanted to make something for this recipe that was gonna be available on the snack tables on sets, the craft tables. And it just so happens that one of the characters in Cast Party owns what is called a bag of endless donuts, which is a bag that they can just endlessly pull donuts out of. So it really just made sense. Anyways, back to that yabo.
To do that, I have here a cup of warm milk. I just warmed it in the microwave until it was about 90 degrees. You can also, again, just stick your finger in it and just be like, oh, it's a little bit over room temperature. You'll be fine. We don't want it cold from the fridge. We don't want it boiling hot. Then I'm just gonna add my yeast. Now I'm just gonna let this sit for about 5 minutes or until everything becomes nice and foamy. Then we'll know that the yeast is active.
Quinn helped me. It seems I was attacked.
We're super fucked up.
You're very chill about this right now. That's lit.
Okay, so now that our yeast is activated, nice and happy, it's time to add the rest of our ingredients. I'm gonna start with the grossest looking one. So what this is it is psyllium husk gel, which is gross sounding, great amount of fiber, good for bowel health, but this is, you can see that it's like really bouncy, looks very disgusting, but it'll help our gluten-free dough be a lot bouncier and be able to stretch more without the use of gluten in it. So I'm just gonna add it in. Oh, it looks like brown flubber. Just gonna mix it real quick. Next, I'm going to take a stick of melted butter that I've let cool down a little bit, add that in, as well as 2 eggs, and some sugar. Now for the dry ingredients, I'm going to take some gluten-free flour, and some glutinous rice flour, which is gluten-free, even though it has gluten in the name of it. It's a different kind of gluten. I won't tell you the science of it because that's boring. And some baking powder, and mix it all up. At a certain point, you'll definitely need to turn it out onto a floured surface to really knead it and make sure everything is coming together. This will start out as a bit of a wet dough, but the more you knead it and the more you get that flour into it, the more it will come together and it will form like a nice smooth dough ball in the end. And I'm gonna make sure I get nice and rough with this, because I want to be able to stretch out that glutinous rice flour, and I really want to knead in all of this bits of psyllium husk that didn't get mixed in.
She has just this look of disgust on her face. You could have been something. Your brother, he was worthless, but you really could have been something.
So now we have our dough ball. It is time to divide this up into 4 different little dough balls so that I can knead different flavors into it. And it's going to take a lot of math and weighing. Okay then, now I'm going to knead individual flavors into each of these.
And while that's going on, I want to tell you all about the amazing characters that inspired these donuts. Our apple cinnamon donut, which I'm making here simply by adding cinnamon to the dough, is inspired by Jet the Boulder Chambers, who is the main actor of the movie in our world, is a huge mama's boy, and loves his puppy, Princess Pebbles. When transported to Fendraeya, Jet becomes the Paladin, who's still a huge mama's boy but is able to summon his Pomeranian Pebbles as his familiar and steed. Our lemon blueberry donut is of course inspired by Blueberry Sky, an actress who's trying to change the world through their art, their veganism, and their environmentalism. In Fendraeya, they are an elven druid who's able to summon their mystical ferret familiar, Frederick. Say that 5 times fast. Our orange creamsicle donut is inspired by Xander Gucci Supreme, cameraman to the stars with an affinity for fashion and looking fly at all times. In Fendraeya, he becomes a warlock, using his camera as his spellcasting focus and hopefully bringing his passion for fashion to this fantasy world. And finally, our red velvet donut is inspired by Sebastian Vivaldi Greensleeves, an emo-at-heart musician struggling to find his way in LA. On set, he was just the sound guy, but after being transported to Fendraeya, he became a bard, using his guitar Daisy to make some magic. Follow their antics across the fantasy landscape of Fendraeya in the main campaign of Cast Party. But don't miss out more with their side campaigns, where they dive deeper into the lore, history, and mystery of this world.
Okay, now that we are all flavored, it is time for us to roll them out and cut them out. Luckily, these are all pretty much the same, so I'll show you one and then we'll skip to when I have them all done, like magic. All right, so on a floured surface, I'm going to take one of my dough balls and roll it out until it's about a little under an inch or so thick, probably about 3/4 of an inch maybe. Then I'm gonna take my big cookie cutter. It's gonna be whatever size you want. This is just what I want to. Cut it out, and then cut out the middle with my smaller cookie cutter. Half of these we're doing with the hole cut out, half of them we're doing not, and we're gonna fill them with stuff. So if you don't want the hole cut out, don't cut out the hole. I don't think I have to explain that to you. I think you know that. Then just, you might need to re-roll out the dough to get, this should get 3 donuts out of it. Hopefully, we'll see. I might have done my math wrong. I am gay. Don't forget to save the inside so that you can make donut holes. I'm gonna put these to the side and I will work on the others and I'll see you in just a sec.
Theron, as you look at this painting, I need a wisdom saving throw.
Whoa. 14.
The world around you begins to fade. Your vision hyper-fixates on this painting. Your peripheral begins to darken. Any semblance of room around you is gone as you are focused on this one painting.
Okay, my donuts are all cut out and now I need to leave them to rise. I'm going to cover them for about an hour and a half or until they've all doubled in size. But you guys don't have to wait that long at all because you'll see the finished product in 3, 2, 1. Okay, not too bad. So these have puffed up nicely over the last about hour and a half. So now I have some oil heating up on the stove to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, I don't know Celsius, Google it. And I'm going to fry these babies up 45 seconds to a minute on each side. But that's boring to watch. So, dance break?
I shouldn't hinder her creativity, her expression of her true self. She's gotta let it loose sometimes. She's so uptight. Don't tell her I said that.
Up and cooled and ready to be finished. For the icing for our orange donut, I'm going to take some powdered sugar, a bit of orange juice, and vanilla. Give it a quick mix. And I'm just going to dip each donut into the icing. put it aside. You can like pour the icing all over the donuts, but that makes a lot of mess, and I don't feel like cleaning that up right now. Now for our cinnamon donuts, I'm once again going to take some powdered sugar and add in a little bit of apple cider. You can just use like apple juice if you want and like add your own cinnamon, but they had apple cider, so it's gonna use apple cider. And dip. And don't forget the holes. Never forget the holes. For our lemon donuts, I am going to toss them in just some regular granulated sugar. And then using some sort of like skewer or just any long pokey thing, I'm gonna use my thermometer, poke a hole in the side, and just kind of wiggle it around so that we hollow out a space for our filling. And then just using a piping bag, or if you're like me and don't have any, using a Ziploc bag, just pipe in your blueberry jam right into the center. You should feel the piping bag kind of like pushing itself out as it fills up. You should also feel the donut like getting heavier as it's filled with the jam. And then finally for our red velvet donuts, I'm just gonna repeat what I did with the last ones, covering them in sugar, hollowing them out, and then piping them full of God's greatest gift to mankind, cream cheese frosting.
On me then, Quinn! And he grabs your feather and he spins you around.
Oh!
And you guys begin to like traverse through and you're making your way towards Cheese and Fiffin, who are like deep sweat, still just
Drenched.
Glow sticks and fanny packs full of...
Love it.
And there we have it, folks, our delicious dozen donuts for cast party. Roll the glamour shots. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of Recipes for Adventures. Make sure you check out Cast Party wherever you and here at Open Table Adventures for more recipes. I've been Dan the Baker. This has been Open Table Adventures, and you are always welcome to pull up a seat. Bye-bye.
And for today, that's a wrap.
What do you mean that's a wrap? No, I disagree.